can be done for those who can still do it at home. Meanwhile, regarding vaccination, Jokowi also said that there should be acceleration of either primary or booster vaccinations.
Oleh sebab itu, kita semua harus mewaspadai tren ini, namun tidak perlu bereaksi berlebihan. Berhati-hati perlu, waspada perlu, tapi jangan menimbulkan ketakutan dan jangan menimbulkan kepanikan. Untuk mereka yang bisa bekerja dari rumah, work from home, lakukanlah kerja dari rumah. Dan saya juga meminta untuk tidak bepergian ke luar negeri jika tidak ada urusan yang penting dan mendesak. Yang belum mendapatkan vaksin, segeralah untuk divaksin. Yang sudah mendapatkan vaksin pertama, segera vaksin untuk yang kedua. Yang sudah 2 kali vaksin, segera cari vaksin ketiga, vaksin booster. Semuanya gratis, karena vaksinasi penting demi keselamatan kita semuanya.
After the passage of the new capital city law, Minister of Finance admits that the budget for the relocation of the state capital in 2022 will be included in the Economic Recovery Program budget.
Minister of Finance Sri Mulyani Indrawati revealed that the budget for the reallocations of the state capital in 2022 will be included in the National Economic Recovery Program budget. For information, the government has prepared funds for the Economic Recovery Program in 2022 of 450 trillion rupiah. The funds were actually budgeted for handling the COVID-19 pandemic, providing social assistance and economic recovery.
Tahapan untuk pembangunan dan pemindahan ini terdiri dari 5 tahapan. Mungkin tahapan yang paling kritis sesudah undang-undang dibuat adalah tahap pertama, yaitu tahun 2022 ini hingga 2024. Karena seperti yang diketahui, tahun 2022 paket untuk pemulihan ekonomi sebesar 450 triliun masih belum dispesify seluruhnya. Jadi ini nanti mungkin bisa dimasukkan di dalam bagian dari program pemulihan ekonomi sekaligus membangun momentum pembangunan ibu kota negara baru.
Sri Mulyani said that the first phase of development and reallocations of the state capital, which began in 2022 to 2024, could indeed use the state budget more as an initial trigger, especially the government needs to prepare basic infrastructure. However, she realized that Indonesia was still in the situations of the COVID-19 pandemic and was still in the context of economic recovery. In addition to preparing the development budget for the national capital, these two things will remain a major concern. Prices has occurred since the last few months. The price of packaged cooking oil even touched the level of 22 to 23,000 rupiah per kilogram. According to Lutfi, the increase was caused by the surge in international CPO prices. He said the increase had an impact on Indonesia. Moreover, the trade minister said to overcome the polemic on cooking oil prices, the government will provide subsidies to reduce cooking oil prices to a level of 14,000 rupiah per liter. IDX Channel report.
And we're moving on to a global update. Abu Dhabi is requiring people entering the city to show proof of booster shots. Meanwhile, Boris Johnson has denied anyone warned him attending a party broke COVID lockdown rules. More stories on today's International Minute. Boris Johnson has categorically denied anyone warned him attending a bring your own booze party in number 10 was a bad idea and broke COVID lockdown rules. Speaking for the first time since he admitted to attending the Downing Street gathering last week, the Prime Minister repeated his apology to the public and said he had no prior knowledge the gathering on May 20, 2020 was going to take place. Chinese President Xi Jinping has made a rare defense on the world stage of his common prosperity policy, which has seen major crackdowns on businesses. China says the policy is aimed at narrowing the widening wealth gap, which could threaten the Communist Party's rule if left unaddressed. Technology, education, and entertainment firms have been hit by the crackdowns. Facing a nationwide surge in coronavirus cases fueled by the spread of the highly transmissible Omicron variant, Abu Dhabi is requiring people entering the city to show proof of booster shots. The government's health app said earlier this week that visitors are no longer considered fully vaccinated unless they have received a booster at least 6 months after their second dose. Japan's central bank revised its inflation forecast and adjusted its view of price risk while leaving its monetary easing policy in place in a nod to lingering pandemic uncertainty. In a quarterly report on prices and the economy, the central bank said it now forecasts inflation of 1.1% for the fiscal year to March 2023, up from its previous forecast of 0.9%. IDX Channel reports. Indonesia slashes 10 million tons of carbon emissions from power plants. Market headlines will be right back.
Saya Mangivera Tjong dan rekan saya Wicky Adrian hadir dalam Power Breakfast.
Awali hari Anda dengan informasi dunia ekonomi yang diulas dari berbagai sudut pandang.
Indeks harga saham gabungan konsisten.
Simak pula analisa pasar modal dan inspirasi bisnis dari berbagai perusahaan rintisan.
Tapi inovasi ini dilaksanakan.
Power Breakfast, Senin sampai Jumat, pukul 8.00, hanya di IDX Channel.
Kalimat inspirasi.
Perbincangan bersama sosok wanita yang menginspirasi.
Orang adalah orang yang bisa menghormati
Women's Talk. Setiap Jumat pukul 12.30 waktu Indonesia bagian Barat, hanya di IDX Channel. Perbincangan hangat tentang isu dan kebijakan ekonomi terkini yang diulas secara mendalam bersama narasumber terpercaya. Senin sampai Jumat pukul 10 waktu Indonesia bagian Barat, hanya di IDX Channel.
Saya Prisa Samodatu membawakan program berita News Screen yang menghadirkan informasi seputar ekonomi maupun juga bisnis dari dalam negeri.
Welcome back on Market Headlines. Due to the government's one-price cooking oil policy, Core Indonesia Executive Director Muhammad Faisal asked the government to monitor directly in the field so that the implementation of subsidies goes as expected.
The government has officially implemented the one-price cooking oil policy of 14,000 rupiah per liter for all types of packaging. Trade Minister Muhammad Lutfi asked the public not to panic buying or buying in large quantities because supplies are ensured to be adequate.
Pemerintah melalui Kementerian Perdagangan mengumumkan kebijakan minyak goreng satu harga. Melalui kebijakan ini, seluruh minyak goreng, baik kemasan premium maupun kemasan sederhana, akan dijual dengan harga setara 14.000 per liter. Atau semua jenis kemasan, baik kualitas premium maupun sederhana, dengan ukuran mulai dari 1 liter sampai dengan jerigen 25 liter, diperuntukkan bagi pemenuhan kebutuhan rumah tangga serta usaha mikro dan usaha kecil.
Meanwhile, Core Indonesia Executive Director Muhammad Faisal asked the government to monitor directly in the field so that the implementations of subsidized goes as expected.
Perlu ada pengawasan terhadap implementasi dari kebijakan ini di lapangan, yang memantau harga yang berlaku di pasaran setelah subsidi ini betul-betul telah turun sebagaimana yang diharapkan, sehingga dan juga tetap tepat sasaran, ya. Jadi jangan sampai kemudian efektivitas daripada kebijakan ini tidak berkurang, ya.
In addition, Faisal criticized the government's move to provide subsidies for premium packaged cooking oil. He considered this to be inappropriate, where ideally the subsidies should not be given to premium packaged cooking oil. IDX Channel reports.
Meantime, the government encouraged the distribution of People's Business Credit or KUR in 2022 as part of the economic recovery policy, especially the small business sector. The coordinating minister for the economy emphasized that this year the government has budgeted a credit limit of up to 373 trillion rupiah, an increase of nearly 90 trillion rupiah from last year's realization. In order to encourage the distribution of these loans, Coordinating Minister for the Economy, Erlangga Hartarto, hopes that all ministries and institutions can encourage the corporatization of MSMEs. This is part of efforts to encourage capacity building of MSMEs through the formation of groups or business entities to achieve economies of scale and expand market access and financing. According to Erlangga, from the 2021 National Economic Recovery Fund of 744 trillion, 162 trillion is allocated for SMEs. And overall, the realization of the currency exchange rate from January 2021 to December 27 has reached 278.71 trillion rupiah or 97.79%.
2022 pemerintah menaikkan plafonnya menjadi 373,17 dan ini berharap bahwa UMKM betul-betul bisa termotivasi dan bisa disalurkan, dan yang telah mendukung adalah beberapa kementerian dan juga terkait dengan
Indonesia reduced carbon emissions from its power plants by 10.37 million tons in 2021. Meantime, to cut carbon emissions, the government has encouraged energy transition to net zero emissions by 2060.
Indonesia reduced carbon emissions from its power plants by 10.37 million tons in 2021, according to Energy and Mineral Resources Ministry. The reductions has reached 210.37% of its target set at 4.92 million tons.
Pembangkitan juga terus upayakan untuk ditekan, dan untuk tahun 2021 dari target 2020 kita mencapai tercatat lebih dari 200% malah capaiannya, yaitu kurang lebih kita mampu mereduksi emisi CO2 sejumlah 10,4 juta ton. Itu lebih besar dibandingkan apa yang kita capai di tahun 2020.
In 2020, the ministry reduced carbon emissions from power plants by 8.78 million tons, or some 186% of the target at 4.71 million tons. The carbon emission reduction target from the sector was set at 5.36 million tons in 2022. In its efforts to cut carbon emissions, the government has encouraged energy transition to net zero emissions by 2060 or sooner. The ministry has formulated a roadmap of energy transitions toward net zero emissions, among others, through the impositions of carbon tax and carbon trade. IDX Channel reports.
Bank Indonesia recorded an increase in the demand for residential properties throughout 2021. Increase in property sales, particularly of middle and large type houses. Bank Indonesia recorded an increase in the demand for residential properties throughout 2021. Deputy Director of the Macro Prudential Policy Department of the Central Bank, Dari Suryanisi, has said. The central bank recorded a significant increase in property sales, particularly of middle and large type houses, in the third quarter of 2021, she noted. Despite property prices recording positive growth, the national price growth was relatively low compared with similar trends in other countries, the deputy director said, adding that the residential property price increase was recorded in many major cities in Indonesia. Besides the property price increase, the central bank also recorded a growth in public housing credit applications last year. The interest rate cut, relaxation of the loan-to-value ratio criteria, and value-added tax borne by the government were among factors that boosted the increase in public housing credit applications in 2021. She affirmed that the central bank will continue implementing policies that are favorable to promoting the property sector in the foreseeable future, including by designating the highest loan-to-value ratio on property funding of 100% for all property types until December 31, 2022. Bank Indonesia has also halted the provision of gradual disbursement for pre-construction properties to boost credit growth in the property sector without diminishing the circumspection principle. IDX Channel reports. Coal export ban causes Bayan Resources to lose revenue. Right after the break on Market Headlines.
Halo Sobat Investor, kalian udah punya rumah belum? Berikut ini adalah tips bagi kalian yang ingin memiliki rumah impian. Tips yang pertama adalah menabung auto debit untuk membayar DP rumah. Kesulitan utama dalam membeli rumah adalah membayar uang muka sebagai syarat KPR. Jadi saat pertama kali kalian menerima gaji, langsung disisihkan secara otomatis ya untuk ditabung. Tips yang kedua adalah menabung dalam bentuk tabungan deposito ataupun emas. Menabung dalam bentuk tabungan deposito dan juga emas membuat tabungan kalian menjadi lebih aman dan tentunya melatih kalian agar semakin disiplin dalam menabung. Tips yang ketiga adalah cari DP rumah yang bisa dicicil. Program cicilan DP rumah membantu kalian yang memiliki dana terbatas. Tips berikutnya adalah pilihlah rumah yang sesuai dengan kebutuhan kalian. Pilihlah rumah yang memang kalian butuhkan ya Sobat Investor. Tips yang terakhir adalah pilihlah KPR dengan tenor yang cukup panjang. Karena KPR dengan tenor yang panjang membuat cicilan bulanan kalian menjadi lebih rendah. Nah, kini memiliki properti impian tentunya bukan angan-angan lagi ya Sobat Investor.
You're watching Market Headlines. At the Jakarta Composite Index intraday movement earlier today, JCI was open at the level of 6,609.83. And then approaching the closing time on the first session, the index was on the level of 6,609.63. And then the index was showing weakening trend by the second session closing time. Index was closed at the level of 6,591.98. And in short, Jakarta Composite Index went down 0.33%. And next, we're going to see the sectoral movement. Leading the dynamics of today's trading, we got energy as the leader of strengthening trend that went up 1.39%. Non-cyclic sector went up 0.49%. Basic as the leader of weakening trend went down 0.94%. And industry went down 0.82%. And from the top gainers of today's trading, let's see the data. Arto went up 0.53% to the level of 18,975 rupiah per share. Adaro Energy went up 0.45% to the level of 2,230 rupiah per share. Adaro Minerals went up 18.67% to the level of 890 rupiah per share. And Bukalapak went up 5.11% to the level of 370 rupiah per share. And meantime, the top losers for today's trading, we got Bank Rakyat Indonesia went down 1.40% to the level of 4,130 rupiah. Aneka Tambang went down 3.09% to the level of 1,725 rupiah per share. Alobank Indonesia went down 2.13% to the level of 5,750 rupiah per share, and RBMS went down 6.06% to the level of 92 rupiah per share. And meantime, from rupiah movement towards US dollar, opened at the level of 14,325. Rupiah showing weakening trend towards US dollar, and it was closed at the level of 14,340. And in summary, rupiah went down 0.33%. Due to the government's policy on banning coal exports, Bayan Resources lost revenues of up to $260 million or around 3.71 trillion rupiah in January 2022. Coal mining company Bayan Resources lost revenues of up to $260 million or around 3.71 trillion rupiah in January 2022. This was due to the government's policy of banning coal exports this month. Bayan Resources President Director Low Tuk Wong said the loss of revenue was because the company's subsidiary was unable to fulfill its new coal delivery obligations in accordance with its contract. In addition to losing revenue, the company also has to renegotiate with its customer to reschedule the delayed coal shipment. The company and its subsidiaries have conveyed the force majeure circumstances of not being able to deliver coal to their customers on January 13, 2021. For information, of Energy and Mineral Resources has adopted a policy to ban coal exports for the period January 1st to January 31, 2022. However, this policy has been relaxed. Currently, exports will be allowed for coal companies that have fulfilled their domestic supply obligations. IDX Channel reports. Waskita Karya received funds of 9.44 trillion rupiah through a rights issue. The funds came from the public, 1.54 trillion rupiah, and state capital participation of 7.9 trillion rupiah. Waskita Karya received funds of 9.44 trillion rupiah through a rights issue held at the end of 2021. The rights issue was absorbed by 78.95%. From the rights issue, Waskita received funds from the public amounting to 1.54 trillion and state capital participation of 7.9 trillion rupiah. As for the redemption of new shares issued by Waskita in rights issue, the majority were executed by foreign institutions. Until the end of the rights issue trading period on January 12, 2022, the composition of Waskita shares ownership was 75.35% of the government and 24.65% of the public. Waskita management expressed its appreciation to the shareholders who have participated in the corporate rights issue, especially in the company's financial recovery process. In the future, the company will focus on running its operational business armed with much better liquidity capabilities so as to be able to improve sustainable financial performance. IDX Channel reports. Astragrafia is optimistic that this year's business growth will increase. According to Astragrafia's Chief of Corporate Secretary, Legal and Corporate Communications, Melinda Pujo, the company's performance in 2022 will be supported by a budgeted capital expenditure of 294 billion rupiah. Most of the company's capex will be allocated for core business needs and the rest for internal company needs. In an official statement, Melinda emphasized that the improving business climate and national economic growth, which is projected to increase by 5 to 5.5%, are a source of optimism for Astragrafia in 2022. The level of consumption, investment and exports are estimated to grow positively as a result of government policies in the sector. The economy and overcoming the COVID-19 pandemic are also believed to be positive catalysts, as is known Astragrafia's performance is supported by 3 business portfolios. And step aside from market condition as the efforts in achieving herd immunity is still going on. Here it is an update data about COVID-19 vaccinations in Indonesia. And the news close our market headlines today. Please enjoy our next program on IDX Channel, your trustworthy economic, business and capital market channel. I'm Fajar Wayong. Have a nice evening. Stay healthy.
Kumpulan berita ekonomi dan bisnis dari dalam negeri. Senin sampai Jumat pukul 14.30 hanya di IDX Channel.